Today is Friday the 15th day of September 2023. I am George Wenner and I am here at Wally Browne Farm in St. Philip's Parish, just outside Bethesda in Willoughby Bay area. And I'm here on Mr. Browne's farm where he's conducting classes for farmers, potential farmers, heavy earth moving equipment operators to operate the tractor with the brush cutter, the plow. And we have a class, a cadre of individuals who have presented themselves to learn from Mr. Browne. And you are, sir?
My name is Imara.
Imara.
Yes, sir.
And Imara, you have been part of this class. This class commenced on Wednesday, I understand, yes. Wednesday of this week. And what have you learned so far? How is it going?
It's going good. So far we learned all the safety features of the vehicle, how to operate around it.
Tractor.
The tractor, how to check around the tractor first thing before move off. And how to operate it. Basically the brush cut is what we learned to operate so far.
So the different accessories. Yes, the one tractor has different platforms, the brush cutter, plow.
Would go onto the tractor as it goes through the field and what they do. So far we've done brush cutting. We've cut a brush cut.
So wait, before you go, slow down. So the whole idea of understanding the tractor first, yes, first and foremost, safely, and understanding the various attachments to couple and uncouple the brush cutter, the plow, and other equipments that you use in farming. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Right. And so you're saying you brush cutted?
Yes, we all brush cut a section of the field over here just to get the feel of the vehicle and how it would operate on a normal basis and what to look for and what to expect. So this is just a basic demonstration of the brush cutting here that he's done so far, and the plower would be behind, digging a hole and removing, exposing the sweet potato that would be on the ground.
Oh, so this is a sweet potato field?
Yeah.
So it exposes the sweet potato for harvesting?
Yeah. Most things are shift now from heavy manpower to mechanical. Back in the day, you used to have to use a fork to do exactly a hoe, to clear and to do exactly what we're doing. Of course, it's more advanced when you have actual harvesters for sweet potatoes. But now what we do is just use the mechanized equipment, develop it, pull through, and then you reap your tickle. So all that skill, and you have to have a bit of skill to be able to control it, to be able to dig it without damaging the food. Alright?
So these are some of the sweet potatoes,
yeah,
that you have harvested just now. And this is Mr. Geno Browne, a second generation farmer, sir? Third generation farmer. His father before him, Wally, everybody knows Wally, and now Geno running things. Geno, tell us what's happening here. Well, this is an excellent initiative.
Well, we saw the avenue for persons who needed training and stuff like that, especially in our field, which is the farming field. And there is a wide gap, a wide space for persons, trained persons to come and operate tractors. And we were like, you know what, between myself and Kenneth, we said to ourselves, you know, let's start the operation. Let's see if we could find interested person. And we have to stop people because there are a lot of persons.
So there you have it, both tractors working in tandem. One is brush cutting and the other is plowing directly behind. Economy of effort. Morning, morning.
That they're not susceptible to lethal elements. So we made a 6-year stance. Not to pick any coconuts, but use the ones that are not susceptible to the lethal anyway. Yeah, have them go to maturity and transplant. And now we're back up to, so we had maybe about 27 trees and now we're up to 700 from these 2 trees, which are not susceptible to the lethal. So everything you're planning, forward thinking. You're going to start here and just drink off all and feel good. But I feel better now because in the next 2 years, I'm going to have a couple hundred well at a time.
Yes, Mr. Browne. So, this initiative, what spurred the thinking? I heard you mention with one of your workers there, forward thinking, forward planning. What was the catalyst behind that?
I mean,
with this initiative with the young people?
I mean, you realize the world is going towards being self-sustainable. For us to be self-sustainable, of course, we have to be able to produce and grow our own food. And the life skill of operating a tractor, which is so important for a farm, especially on these horrible flatlands, is so important. So we saw an avenue, and it's not really an avenue. We saw a gap, and that is to have persons who are trained to operate. I mean, there are persons who have tractors and can't get to do the work that they can because they don't have enough operators. So we're like, you know what? We have the skill, we have the know-how, and we've been doing this for a very long time. The skill has been passed down from generation to generation. Why not pass it on to some youth or somebody who has the interest, you know what I mean, to function and operate within the farming sector? So we got a really good response. I mean, this is the first training and we did it absolutely free. It was never about the money or the publicity because we never told any government agencies or any media agencies at all. We were like, among us and some other farmers around here, we were like, you know what, let's try to make a difference. Let's see if we could, you know, find the diamond in the rough, find the persons who would be interested in that, who could develop the skill fast enough to be able to operate on it.
When did the training start and what's the duration? How long?
It's just a short crash course which takes us 5 days. It started on Thursday and Wednesday, sorry. Today is the second day, and there are persons who never drove a stick shift vehicle who are running an operator. I mean, for the startup, we really went through the whole safety, because that's paramount, and any heavy duty or any heavy machinery at all. The safety and equipment protection controls, and we went through that for an entire day and had them go straight into the start. And everything else from there on in, of course, from the time you have the fundamentals down pat, you take it to a different space where you can now, you know, become an entry-level operator, and you can use some of the implements that, you know, require less technique and less skill, which we started with the brush cutter, which is just like a lawnmower, but you still have to have that level of know-how to know how to operate, shift change, direction, height, and everything.
Wally Browne Farms is one of the largest farm operations here in Antigua for decades, providing us Antiguans with food security. And it is good to see that you are passing on the knowledge that you got from your father and other relatives. How long do you intend to sustain this? What's the long-term goal for this outlook? Are you encouraging other young people to get into farming?
Well, one of the most valuable things you can always give in life is time. A lot of people think it's money, but the time is more valuable because it's limited. So basically, we have to chalk it up and we have to be real. It's reality versus expectation. We can do a couple of these trainings, but of course we have to do them in intervals and gaps because we have to get back to our regular lives. So this is the first of, you know, probably many, but of course we have to give ourselves gaps because we have to go back to the field to make sure we can produce, you know what I mean, so we could sustain our families and whatever. But, you know what I mean, it wouldn't be the last, for sure. But we are going to the teething stages, you know, seeing the people like checking their skill sets. And of course, it was really easy to get into the operation of it. Next step we're going into, which is Monday, is implement attachment, which is kind of skillful, and you have to have the skill to do it and also know how to get it.
Excellent. I wish you all the best in this endeavor, but it would be remiss of me being on this farm and not to ask you about production, how's production coming along, and the acreage. What size of farm you operate here?
Oh, it's over 70 acres.
Over 70 acres.
Yeah, we are some of the largest producers of sweet potato and watermelon in the island. And among other crops.
Pumpkin as well.
Pumpkin as well. Those are some of the crops that we grow. In terms of production, we all know we are a drought-stricken island, and we have been bearing the brunt of it. And as we always say, when it's good, we don't complain, so when it's bad, we bang your belly. And it's been a horrible, in terms of production, this is, to me, since I've been operating, which is over 14 years now, it's one of our worst production years to date. And it has a lot to do with the hydration, but we're still thankful because we're able to, maintain some of the workers. We're still able to feed our families and whatever. But the bountiful production, plant growth depends on water. And if you don't have water, you limit yourself.
How many workers you have with you on this farm?
Now, at the present moment, we are down to just about 5.
Wow.
5 workers. And high operating times, which some of the workers are really down. We're up to 14 to 16. So we had to reduce the amount of manpower to be able to battle and come back with the times. But where there's a will, there's a way. And we are much more hopeful and forward thinking bunch more than most. And we always think that there's this time that will come that we'll be able to operate. So we keep fighting. If you see the area is not running loose and wild, we still have control. We just want to make sure that we could give back to our community and give back to Antigua as a whole and produce enough food so we could sustain ourselves.
Mr. Browne, Mr. Thwaites, you've been rather quiet. I wish you two all the best in your endeavor and every success with this venture, with passing on the knowledge and inculcating the skills to our young generation of farmers. George Wenner, out in the field on Wally Browne Farms, holding their feet to the fire, keeping them honest.